Hi, I'm Anthony from Sydney Backyard Veggies. We're in the middle of August at the moment and the weather here in Sydney is just starting to warm up, so I'm going to get my first spring seedlings in the ground. A few weeks ago I started off my green bean seedlings, and now they're at their second true leaves and they need to go into the ground now. So I'm going to find a spot in the patch to start planting out my first of my spring seedlings. But before I start planting out my seedlings, I just wanted to show you what I've grown. This is my this bush bean variety is called Jackson, and I've grown them into a 200 cell tray here and planted them about 3 weeks ago, and they all germinated really well. And now I've got, as you can see there, really beautiful looking seedlings. I have started them as seedlings as opposed to direct planting them in the ground because the soil's a little bit cold at the moment still, so they won't really germinate if I direct seed. But what I've done is I've grown them out in this tray in a warm spot in my house, and now I've got close to 100 seedlings I need to plant out. So I'm going to go now and go prepare the bed to plant these seedlings out. I'm over at my main bed here on the northern side, just adjacent to the avocado, and I've chosen this spot to plant my seedlings. I like this spot because it does get full sun in the middle of summer, but the shade from the avocado and from the lemon tree just behind me actually provides a little bit of relief from the harshness of the summer suns that we get here in Sydney. So I do find that the beans do thrive in this location. I had planted some here last year and it came out great. So what I've done is, at the moment, is I've gone through and turned over the soil and just broken up those clogs and removed a lot of those weeds. And what I'm going to do now is add some of my homemade compost to the bed, just spread it out and make it all even, and then from then on I'll add some additional amendments. So I've gone and added my compost to the bed and I've spread it out lightly. Took 2 bucket loads of compost to fill up this space. And what I'm going to now do is add a little bit of dolomite lime to the bed. The compost I find is made out of horse manure and chicken manure from my run, so it's quite acidic. And so I add just a couple of handfuls of, and there you go, just a couple of handfuls of dolomite lime, and what that will do is just sweeten the soil and just bring the pH up a bit to that 6.5, 7 range that beans generally like. So I'm going to come through, spread it out lightly across the bed, and then I will use my hoe just to dig over the soil, and then I'll strain out the beds ready for my rows. So I'm going to come through now and start building my rows. What I'll be using is the back of the rake, and I'll be doing a depression pretty much essentially parallel to the Brussels sprouts, and I'll be looking at doing it in the order of about 40 centimeters apart. So what I'll be doing first is just trying to come up really close to the Brussels sprouts, and just making my row all the way through that way, and just continue all the way down. Unfortunately, at the moment I've got the trees around me, but that will add a lot more value to the patch here later on in the season when it gets too sunny. But all I'm doing is trying to keep it level. Then I'll do is find it about the 40 centimeters apart, and my next row goes in here. And I'll just continue doing that all the way through, and I'm hoping to get probably 4 to 5 rows just across this bed. So I'm going to come through now and start planting my seedlings. What I'm looking at is planting approximately 10 centimeters apart within the row. And it's a simple matter of using the back of my trowel, dibbling a hole, and then planting them into the space. So just gently pulling them out of the seed tray. There you go, perfect. And I'm just dropping them into the hole and filling it in. And I'll just continue down the row, filling in each of the dibblets 10 centimeters apart in the rows that are 40 centimeters apart. So I just finished off planting off those seedlings and I ended up getting 4 rows in, probably in order about 60-70 seedlings planted out, so I'm really happy with that. Gonna went through and gave them a water just to get them to settle in. I expect them to take about a week just to settle in, and after that they'll be flying in as the soil warms up. We're looking at harvesting these in about 8 weeks time, 8 to 10 weeks time, so I'm looking about mid-November for a harvest. I've still got a lot of seedlings, still probably got another 100, so I'm trying to find another spot around the garden. As spots open up, I'll just plant out in more rows. So no, but that's first start of spring, so I'm really excited for the rest of the season. I'll have to find some spots to plant out the last of those seedlings. So while I'm out in the patch this afternoon, I've decided I need to go do some maintenance on my cabbages. They're just starting to form heads at the moment, and I just feel that I'm starting to push the season a bit with them as the weather warms up here in Sydney. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come show you what I'm going to do to help these plants along in time for spring harvest. They definitely do need a fertilize and a bit of a weed. So this is my crop. I've got in the order of about 24 cabbages in this spot. If you come closer, you can see the heads are just starting to form, but I would have hoped that it would have been a bit more advanced than that. But look, they are speeding up over the last week or so as the days get longer. What I am going to come and do is I'm going to actually come down and remove all these lower leaves. So I'll be removing these leaves, especially the ones touching the floor, and I'm going to be adding some chicken manure pellets to each of the plants to the base, just to really give them that extra boost of nitrogen. And just a general weeding. I still got a fair bit of, as you can see there, a fair bit of chickweed. So I'm going to come through and clean that up. And hopefully if we get rain over the next few days, that would really help the plants absorb all that extra nitrogen from the chicken manure pellets. So I'm going to come through and start working through those. Coming through, I'm going to start just pulling out the bottom of these leaves. As you can see, just breaking them all off and picking them for the chickens. Clean up a bit of the weeds. And then with that, I'll just add my fertilizer, chicken manure pellets. I'll just add a solid handful at the base of each plant. And I'll just continue on through the row. So I just finished off weeding and fertilizing my cabbages. I will turn the irrigation on just to start getting that chicken manure pellet breaking down and starting to feed the plants. They look fine now. They look really good. It really helps to clean up those lower leaves just to stop the insects from getting into it and the spread of disease through the plants. But I'm hoping in about 4 to 6 weeks I'll be harvesting most of this crop and clearing this bed for spring plantings. So yeah, that's enough for this bit. Now